Yo, what's up, YouTubers? Okay, so everybody deserves basic human dignity. Now, you gotta earn respect, but just the fact that you're a human being means there's a certain level of dignity that belongs to you. Okay, let's get serious here. We'll turn the air conditioner off in this heat. Better listen. Okay, so don't you just love chips and cheese? Gotta put it down. Yep. Step away from the nachos. Go for a walk. Watch yourself talk. Anyway, you can do this, Skip. Stay on point. All right. So when somebody is in need, like you'll see these ministries, and they'll show like some bloated kid with flies in their diet or whatever, and it's like, that is out of the line. That is so far out of line to take advantage of somebody when they're down and out and be like, look at these horrific conditions of the situation, blah blah, to try to get, it just strips them of their dignity, man. And you're trying to get them help, whatever. Okay, cool, I get you. Time and a place for everything, right? But in general, in the United States, your belly's not going to be distended from a lack of food and, blowflies eating your eyes and planting worms in you and everything else, right? Like, if it's that bad, then, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, the people here are just fat and lazy, right? So when they need help or whatever, for dignity, I was talking to a guy one time, his name was T. He's down in Florida. And he said, man, what I really need is a job. You know what I mean? So if you want to do some handouts, why don't you, hand out, a Bible, give them a job reading that, number one. And then, start up a crew. You know what I mean? Do some handyman stuff on the weekend or whatever. Do some side jobs, and then hire some of these people that need, a little bit of management. And they might have skills. They might not have a place to live. They might not have like a driver's license to just make it back and forth to work. They've made some mistakes. Whatever. But you ain't got to give them all this cash because, you feel guilty or whatever else like that. The poor would glean from the edges of the fields. So the farmers would leave the food in the field. But if you was poor, you had to go out there and get the grain and everything and, get the chaff off of it, get a stone, a grindstone and grind it down and, make your flour into a cake, build a fire to cook it. You know what I mean? That's a big difference than here's $20, go to McDonald's. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's a giant difference. So these people deserve dignity. So this whole thing is messed up in our current society where it's like, oh, I'm going to give money to this place. This place is going to pre-package this food, take this food out in the desert and give it to these people because they're bloated with flies in their eyes, eat up with diseases and everything else, right? Okay, well, how about we just build a factory and be like, if you want food and medicine, work for it. You know what I mean? That's what capitalism is. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's biblical, man. That's the way it's supposed to be. Like you don't need a handout. You need a job. You know what I mean? So you can go to work. The handout is a Bible where they can read the Word. If they don't know how to read the Word, then you're, to educate them. If they don't know how to work, you're to educate them. My dad educated me with these, how did he put it? Leather treatments. And it was great. It cured the illness of lazy. You know what I mean? He would say something along the lines of, oh, you're doing good. You look like you need a raise. about 3 inches off the ground with my boot in your backside. Now get out there and finish the task at hand. And I need to hear that. Otherwise, I would have been lazy. And it built in me a work ethic. So the ethics, the morals and ethics of Jesus includes, and I quote, making a whip, turning over tables, and cleaning the house out with a vigorous zeal. You know what I mean? Like, bro, you're able-bodied, living on Section 8 housing, jumping from fat chick to fat chick. You got 13 kids with 12 women, and just mooching. You're a mooch. You're a fornicating mooch. And, you know, you got to get your shit together. You know what I mean? And if that, you know, hurts or whatever, hey, man, you know, you rode the cow as long as you can. Go get a job, pay your child support, start a business, pay all your child support, get some of your buddies together to work together on projects and build bridges and build buildings and learn HVAC and business management and become a carpenter or a roofer or an electrician. Put the weed sack down and step away from the cold beer and put your focus and your mind on your money. I got my mind on my money and my money. No, you got your mind on drugs and pussy. You're rolling down the street with gin and juice. You need to be, you know, crunching some numbers on this business loan. And you need to be figuring out how you're going to get this office space. You need to be figuring out how you're going to get this work truck. Get these tools over here so you can strip some wire and twist it together and, you know, pull some Romex through the wall. You know what I mean? You got your mind on your business. You're minding your own business like you have a business that you own, and your mind is on that. Mind your own business. I mean, come on, man. Come on, you can do it. And you ladies out there, okay. You know what I mean? So you caught a stiff one every chance you got. You've had a mattress strapped to your back because Dad wasn't there. Wham. Get over it. You can spend the next 20 years, sorry to say it that way, but you need to hear it. You can spend the next 20 years blaming everybody else, or you can just pause that and tell yourself, I'll be mad tomorrow. Today, I'm going to mind my own business. And whatever you're good at, monetize that. And every time you say, well, I would, but, get your butt out of the way. I know that's hard for some of y'all to hear. Okay? But all you dudes that are raised by women, that act like women, you're a dude. Nobody cares. You're not a chick. Alright? Nobody cares. Work harder. Oh, well, this problem, that problem. Cool. Cool. You've identified your problems. Now do it anyway. You're not a girl. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a punk. Do it anyway. You know what I mean? And when somebody gives you a job, do it better than the next guy, because you ain't got nothing else. That's all you got is your spine and your sweat, blood, and tears as you build the skills. But you got to build the morals and the ethics first. Your work ethic. When somebody else is stealing out of the till, and at the end of the night, there's $20 missing or whatever else like that, they need to know that it's not you, because you had integrity. You need to be showing up 15 minutes early. You need to be staying 15 minutes late. Get the split shift at freaking Kentucky Fried Chicken. I did. Started at 10 o'clock in the morning, supposed to be done at 5. Somebody else was always complaining that I'd say, hey, I'll take your shift if you want to go home. Every day somebody went home. Well, if I stayed until midnight, everybody got off work at midnight. So I could say, hey, can you give me a ride home? So now I don't have to walk home. So I worked from 10 in the morning till midnight, stacking a fat check and got a ride home. But if I'd have left work when I was supposed to at 5 and walked home, that would be more effort than staying at work. You see what I'm saying? Make it make sense. Actually think about it. Mind your own motherfucking business. Whatever you're doing, put your mind to it. Put your mind to it. Got my mind on my money, laid back, gin and juice, smoking Indo. Yeah, sure. You got your mind set on going to the penitentiary with your pants halfway down. What could go wrong? Sounds like a pain in the ass to me. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. You know what I mean? Pull your pants up. Tighten up your belt. Put a pocket knife in your pocket so you can cut rope and shit. Act like a man. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're not a man, just go ahead and act like one on the job. You know what I mean? You're tough. You know what I mean? You don't complain and you just get it done.
There's a lane closure ahead.
And if it closes down on you and you can't get it done that way, that means it's time to go over, around, under, dig a tunnel. I don't know. Just get it done. Just get it done. We had a straw boss. Oh man, he was like, if ever the word cracker was the appropriate word, this son of a bitch. Oh man, he just run his mouth all day long. I don't know how many times yeah. The dude about got beat to death repeatedly. Anyway, it's on a hot tar roof in Florida, in the sun. It's hot, and yeah, and then like it rains every day in the afternoon. So if you don't tear this off and put it back, you cause a major flood. $100,000 damage. No big deal. I wrecked this dude's truck, and he's like, "Oh, don't worry about it." Within the next month, I see $1 million floods. I was like, no wonder he wasn't worried about that truck. Like, you know, we're just causing insurance claims everywhere. You know what I mean? And the owners of the building actually liked it sometimes because once their insurance kicked in or the, you know, situation, then they got a free roof. So, you know, anyways, make it make sense. How do you make money off of flooded roof? Anyway, you can. You can. All right, now sales. All business is a person dealing with another person. I don't care of your age and stage, gender, ethnicity, none of that. If you can talk to people with confidence, provide a service, and then come through with what you promised and do it under budget, you will be profitable. Repeat the process. Okay, so whatever you're doing, wherever you're at right now, learn everything there is to know. You know, I was at KFC. You know what I mean? They said, we'll give you a raise if you learn the drive-thru. So I learned the drive-thru. I learned how to cook. I run the front counter. I, you know, learned everything all the way up to shift manager. And shift manager, I was learning how to deal with people. You know what I mean? So you're there, you're flipping burgers, but you know, don't want to do this for the rest of your life. But learn the lessons. The hardest work I ever did was definitely on a roof. But the hardest pace and variety was fast food, man. If you are flipping burgers, you are getting it. You are learning. You are preparing yourself to be a go-getter and to listen to everybody's freakouts that are co-workers and every, you know, horrible individual that's going to complain. You're dealing with all that, okay? And then somebody shits in the floor, right? And you're dealing with that. Okay, well, guess what? You do that for about 2 years, you're qualified to do anything else. Anything else. Anything else. Okay? So at that point that you got that learning, that you got, like, I know people that are running companies that I'm like, dude, If you'll go work at McDonald's for 6 months in the ghetto and then come back to this job, this company will do triple revenue. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. You take 6 months, you go work the night shift, you clock out here, you're the CEO of, Get Her Done Son Incorporated. Any of them. Go to your night job in the ghetto at McDonald's, Church's Chicken, whatever, I don't know, fast food, go to Taco Bell, go clock in and work for 6 months. For 6 months. I did apply the lessons you learned there at your corporate job. You know what I mean? You're Mr. Air Conditioner man with 12 fans and all this other kind of stuff going on. Hand it off. Hand it off in the evenings. Here, other person. Here is the phone. Other person take care of the calls and the BS. You go work at Taco Bell. Get back to where you started. Get back what you need. You need to listen to Karens. They're just in your face. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Sir, it. Yes. Okay. All right. I'm sorry that happened. Whatever. They just take it. Just take it. Just get shit on it. You know what I mean? They take it. You know what I mean? Don't sit there and be like, oh, well, I had 14 kids, my 7 dudes, and, now I'm living here, but, I'm not disabled, so they're going to kick me out because HUD says at 24 months, if I'm able-bodied, I got to leave. What do I do now? You know what I mean? I'm defeated. I haven't had a Pepsi in 3 weeks because my EBT won't buy it. I just mad and fussy, dude. Go get your Taco Bell and put up with it. Take that skill, apply it to literally anything else. Hopefully something that you like. Well, I like, numbers. Start watching YouTube videos about being an accountant. Okay? And then take this work ethic that you're learning and use like these morals and ethics where you're just doing right. And you get so tangled up that you'll be like, Jesus help me. Jesus help me not rip Karen's head off today. You know what I mean? These other people did not show up. You know what I mean? I'm flipping the burgers and I got the headset on. You know what I mean? Welcome to KFC. Can I take your order? We got a 2-piece original for $6.99 on special, and I'm back there pulling the chicken. Because there's a lot to deep fried chicken. And then I gotta come up there and bag it, get it off the thing and everything, and put it up. And then there's some kid just poured soda all over the stuff out front. So there's 2 of us there because nobody else showed up. And dealing with that. Then, years later, years and years go by, and I'm running a 17-man crew and I'm on the roof. And I'm looking around and I'm like, this is easier. This is easier than Kentucky Fried Chicken. And I learned weird stuff like team. Together, everyone achieves more. You know what I mean? In trucking, you got goal. Get out and look. Like you're backing up. You can't really see where you're going. Get out and look. You know what I mean? Like I'm on the roof, see somebody struggling to, tear off this corner. And I say, you want to know the easy way to do that? Hey, somebody come over here and help this guy. And make a joke out of it. Are you taking it hard? Are you working hard or are you taking it hard? You know what I'm saying? So you got to flip this perspective. Life ain't gonna happen to me. I'm gonna happen to life. I'm violent and I will take it by force. You're not gonna hold me down. Ain't nobody gonna take my pride. Ain't nobody gonna hold me down. Oh no, I've got to keep on moving. So confident in God. Because He's got my back. And He's going to make a way. He's going to give me the opportunity to work. He's not going to give me the money. He's not going to give me anything but tools and skills. So as I do my tools and skills, you know what I mean? I made some bad choices. I put myself in this situation. So I'm going to own it. You know what I mean? I'm some fat chick with 14 kids right now. I'm going to be like, Lord, I'm fat with 14 kids. I've been, I've had a mattress strapped to my back all these years. And I was hoping that they would stick around because I just wanted love. Help me. And watch God come through when you get genuine. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you. I'm serious. I'm serious. You look in the mirror, you're like, oh, I'm fat. And want everybody to be empathetic to that. Why? 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 It don't matter. All these people you're trying to impress by being skinny, they don't care. It's like buying the fancy car and you're sitting in traffic and you're like, yeah, everybody knows I got a fancy car. I got shiny wheels. Nobody gives a shit. And the people that actually pretend to give a shit, they're horrible people. They're the scum of the earth. They're envious and jealous and backbiting, like all this stuff bad. You know what I mean? They're chicken shit. Why do I give a fuck what they think? Fuck them. You know what I mean? Hopefully they'll hit the ground hard enough and bounce high enough that their head will pop out of their ass and they'll get some get right in the process, turn their life over to Jesus, straighten out and help the next person. But while they're on that downward spiral like a turd going down the bowl, you know what I mean? Just try to make sure none of it smears on me. But when they're ready to, do right, hey, here's a Bible, there's your handout, let me give you a job. You know what I mean? The circle of life. It's real good. It's real good. Look at this guy, he's got it all blacked out. Decatur County. I bet that sucker's fast. Anyway, so, I hope this helps somebody out there. I know I need a good talking to every now and then. You know what I mean? And earlier today I was talking with a fella about stuff. I said quite a bit. Part of what I said was, after World War II, everybody was reading the Bible. Because during World War II, they're like, God, help my family not die. My loved ones are overseas fighting the Japanese, the Germans, whatever. And sorry, we got somebody on the side of the road like an idiot. And so man, they've been reading the Bible because they're like, is this the apocalypse? Like imagine that, you know what I mean? World War II is going on, and they're like, is this the apocalypse? Is Hitler the man of perdition? Are they instituting a one world government? And this is the end? You know what I mean? That I'm sure that crossed a lot of people's mind. Look how many people think that today. So during the war, everybody's like praying. So after the war, they're very grateful to God. And they're going to churches. And they're listening to the people that came back from war. And they're seeing the results of that stuff. And they're, honoring heroes. And they're having parades. And everybody's just like, congratulations meets relief, meets hope. And now they're trying to get her done. You know what I mean? And there's opportunity everywhere because everybody's working and been working. And money is worth, a dollar's worth a dollar still. They hadn't robbed the value of a dollar yet. So there was a lot going on, sure. But you know what? What really went on? Every Wednesday and twice on Sunday, somebody was talking just like I'm talking right now to everybody in the community. Everybody in the whole country. was listening to some preacher give a sermon. Sometimes it was God loves you, and sometimes it's get off your fat ass and get a job. You know what I'm saying? And you need to take that to heart. You need to take that to heart. Because I met some people at a church, and I said, hey, I need some help. And the guy said, well, I would help you, but you can help yourself. And I'm not going to rob you by helping you right now. I'm going to tell you, go get a job. Now kick rocks, get off my porch. And I left. The next day, I was mad at that dude, didn't get no job. The next day after that, I was mad at that dude, didn't get no job. 4 days later, when I was like, fuck that dude, didn't even think about my problems, and I'm walking down the road, and this guy slows down and says, hey, do you need a ride? And I said, well, yeah, but I need a job's what I need. And he's like, I can give you both. Got in the truck, went to work. You know what I mean? I don't know where you're at in life. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what your I would but is. Write it down. I would excel, but write down the problem. And then another problem, and another problem, and another problem. Now tell me how you're going to get over that. Tell yourself how you're going to get over that. Is God bigger than those problems? Yes. I'm going to tell you, yes. So, seek the Lord in His ways. Okay? Because what's going to happen is, as you slowly whittle down this stuff that you're messing up, and you start doing it His way, and you start building momentum, okay, I got a job. Okay? But the job barely pays as much as the daycare. But I'm going to church. So, I'm in the Bible study, and I'm just like, it's Sunday morning, the kids are in the Bible class, whatever like that, and you're just like, hey, I need some help with these kids so I can work. You know what I mean? And you start coming together as a community to help each other out. You know what I mean? And you start finding solutions to these problems by putting God first. By putting God first. By putting God first. I want to write this stuff down and look at it. My business is to get over my problems. I need to know what that problem is. Name it a demon. The demon of Little Debbie. You know what I mean? Cast Little Debbie out of your pantry. You know what I'm saying? Step away from the fudge rounds. You know what I mean? And don't beat yourself up about it. You look at the mirror and you're fat. Dude, I'm a dude. I got tits. I'm fat. You know what I mean? Like, it used to be muscle, but I sat in this truck for 10 years and not doing nothing. I do some, but, when I look in the mirror, I'm a butterball with tits. You know what I mean? I still look like a dude, don't get me wrong, but, I probably could fill out a bra. You know what I'm saying? Go like 3 weeks with no push-ups, definitely. But, work it out, not so much. Anyways, let me tell you about my titties. Let me tell you about my titties, okay? Let's get real. So, underneath my arm right here, like just about one hand length under right here, is a little blob of fat. So I'm scratching, I'm driving, and I reached under and I scratched, and I felt this little jelly roll. And I touched it a little bit, and it was about like a titty in texture. I said, holy shit, I got a titty under my arm. I gotta get away from the table. This is like 2 years ago. I still got that. It's not as bad as it was. Well, it's about the same, really. Anyway, so I know I need to change my diet and exercise and habitually move towards the goal of no titties under my armpit, right? But I haven't done what it takes to get that because I actually don't care, right? So, at this point in life, I'm like, well, you know what? I want to be attractive naked so my wife has a better experience in the bedroom. Okay, let's just keep it real. Let's keep it real here. Like, I'm going to get some either way. But she's going to have a much better experience if I'm not a butterball. You know what I mean? I'm going to have a much better experience if I'm not a butterball. You know what I mean? And if I'm my head straight, I know I can control me. It's called self-control. I cannot control her. I cannot control you. I cannot control myself sometimes, apparently, because I still got a ditty under my arm. But I haven't set that as a high enough priority. My priority right now is to stay in the lane, make this video, earn this check, pay these bills, hand the Bibles out. You see what I'm saying? Like, you know, how fat I am is further down the list. And with the apocalypse coming up, I'm just like, do I want to be starving to the point that you can see my muscles sticking out? And then, you know, go 7 years of famine or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, like, you know. And that's just kind of justified being fat and lazy. You know, I need to get on the stick. And I think I'm going to do that. That's what I have to do. I'm just going to get on the stick. I've changed my eating to clean. You know what I mean? But I still have a, you know, volume problem because I've always cooked for like a family, you know. So now I cook. I just eat the same thing for like 4 days till I'm tired of it. Anyways, you can do it. You can do it. If God can save me, He can save anybody. Whatever sin, except for just rejecting Jesus. If you just completely reject Jesus, you know, that's blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. You're beat. You know, Holy Spirit says that's the way. You don't want it, you ain't got to take it. You're going to live like the devil and go to hell? Well, go to hell, I guess. But if you want to have victory and not be a victim of the bullshit and the lies, ask God into your life. You know what I'm saying? For real. Just ask God into your life. And then just look for the lessons in everything and just keep going no matter what. No matter what, just keep going. Going in and doing it and doing it and going in and going in and doing it and doing it and going in and doing it. No matter what. Whatever God lays in front of you, get her done. Whatever it is. If it's tracking with morals and ethics and it's kosher, do it. You know what I'm saying? Get it done. If it ain't, don't do that. You know, it ain't going to do you no good to go out there and try to, you know, one of these, keeper kids. You know what I mean? Like, you think you're going to go out there and have some kids and keep this dude because, oh, well, now you got a kid. No, he wasn't the one. He was going to run off no matter what. You know what I mean? And you're worth more than that. You're worth more than that. And what's happening is, right now, in America, the welfare system took Dad out of the picture. And these welfare people, and when I say welfare people, I know more white people with food stamps than black. I know way more white people with the EBT issues. You know, my best friend's sister died from Dr. Pepper. You know what I mean? We used to joke when we was kids. When we were working at KFC, I shit you not, in Tulsa, 1997, we brought her a bag of Dr. Pepper, the syrup. Because we're like, here, just hook this up to an IV. The woman lived on Dr. Pepper. She drank 3 2-liters of Dr. Pepper every day, and she died. And she bought every bit of that shit with EBT. And she had a bunch of kids from different dudes. And after she blowed up so big that, you couldn't get drunk enough to jump on it no more, she quit having kids. But she was literally so unattractive that a drunk at a bar wouldn't have hit it. She quit having kids. But she was a good-looking chick, dude. When she was young, that Dr. Pepper just ruined her. Just ruined. I mean, bigger than all outside. You know, and she had so many kids and so many family, and had this Suburban, and the whole dash just had like half the post office. And then, like, they would go and they would get like 6 carts of groceries on the first of the month. And they get these flats of eggs, like the big wooden flats of eggs. And there were like 5 dozen, and they would get like 6 of those. And they had one room in the house. They called it the food room. And they just pack it all in there. And then her and her family, and then my buddy's family, And then some of the neighbors, they'd all get together and eat every day. And it was just like a feast. And then at the end of the month, they were all broke. And they would just complain constantly. And any one of them, any one person could have went and got a job and had more income than what they were getting on the EBT. I've heard more white people say, well, you know, if I go get a job, they're going to cut my check. I'm like, how much is your check? Oh, they'll give me $750. Bro, you can set your fat ass in a truck and drive down the road and make $2,000 a week. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Oh, well, you know, I'm afraid I'll run somebody over. Or, oh, well, this. Yeah, I would, but. Fuck around. It's just like, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Like, you're better than that. You know what I mean? Like they need an intervention. You know what I'm saying? They need an intervention. You know what I mean? Like if you know these people that are like this, and they're your family members, like the Bible says, if you don't provide for your family, you're worse than an infidel. You're worse than an infidel. You're worse than an unbeliever. If you watch this video and you have kinfolk that you don't stage an EBT intervention and say, get a fucking job. We then, you know, have each individual come in there. I mean, like they're, you know, approach it like they're just, I mean, shooting fentanyl on a daily basis. You know what I mean? It's deadly. You know, diabetes ain't no joke. Heart disease ain't no joke. The government money is a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. It's a trap. Oh, well, I just need some help. No, you don't need a handout. You need a job. And you need to build a business where you can hire everybody else. And you need to train them. And you need to be going to church getting all juiced up. That's a fact. That's fact of business. You need to be in church on Wednesday. You need to be in church twice on Sunday. And I don't mean one of these bullshit churches. I mean one of these ones where they open the Bible and they're like, you know, fire and brimstone, you're going to hell without Jesus, and they need some, here's, you know, Jeremiah 29:11, God will provide, but if you're not going to follow this Mosaic law, these 10 commandments, and you think that God's going to save you, you're fucked. You're fucked. If you don't listen to the rules and see what's right and wrong and choose life. Today I set before you life and death. Choose life. That's a commandment. Choose life. Life ain't EBT. Life ain't HUD housing. That ain't life. That ain't life. You've been trapped. You've been tricked. You are a victim. Sure. Cool. Get over it. Get over it. Kick its ass. Kick its ass. Take whatever part of you that feels like a victim, have you a nice pity party. You got 24 hours. Feel as bad as you want. That's it. You win some big promotion at work. You get 24 hours to celebrate. Then it's back to work. Nobody cares. Work harder. And no more peasant bullshit. Like, you're not a peasant. You know what I mean? You're not some lowly scumbag, worthless person. You deserve the dignity of holding a paycheck that you earned and paying your electric bill. We're like, I paid that shit. God gave me a job and I worked that job and I paid that motherfucking electric and I raised these kids. And God gave me the chance to do it, and God gets the glory. Now you're in alignment and you're set up to receive the favor from God. And if you got kinfolk that don't understand that alignment, you're worse than an infidel. You are shitbag for not taking that to your family. It is your fucking responsibility. It is your calling to spread the gospel to all corners of the earth. But if you don't even walk across the living room because, you know, Dad's watching Fox News talking about, oh, did you see what they did? Did you see what Donald Trump did? You go over here to, Aunt Betty's house, and she's like, did you see what Donald Trump did? Did you see what he did? He took away my fucking Milky Ways. You know what I mean? You don't sit them down and show them how to get lined up with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? You got this next generation that don't understand that, 60 months of car payments at $400 means it's a $24,000 car. They look at the car and they say, oh, that's $10,000. Then they walk out with 5 years of payments at $400 a month. And I'm like, you just paid $24,000 for that car. No, I didn't. I paid $10,000. It says right here, look, it's $10,000. Yeah, and you got $14,000 worth of financing and bullshit fees. You just paid more for the process than you did for the product. Dude, if you're not fixing it, if you're not reaching out to your family, if you're not doing it for the least of these, who is actually Jesus, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, sure, yeah, we need somebody to go build a bridge and fix the dam and rebuild the roads, and, Sally's house blowed away in a tornado, pick up the pieces, whatever. But, like, what's happening in your own home? What's happening in Minnesota? I was in Minnesota today. What happened in Oklahoma? Why would I leave my kid and go spread to all the world and not give it to my household? Why would I do that? Why would I do that? What am I doing that's so fucked up that they can't hear it? How am I so fucked up that my family can't hear me say, this is why I do what I do, and this is the results of what I'm doing? So see right here how it makes sense? Because ABC and 1, 2, 3 and 2 plus 2 is equaling 4. I'm developing these channels of blessing by doing it God's way. Having those hard talks, being actually humble, being actually Christ-like. And you know what I mean? Listen to the Karen side of it or whatever else like that till the foghorn leghorn just comes out of their, my God, let me tell you this, blah, blah, this, this. Well, I did this, I did that, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. He was there with you through all of that, sir. Yes, sir. It's hard. Yes, sir. You suffered the slings and arrows to buy this property and worked 45 years and now you're crippled. I get it. I get it. I do. You're right. That's why I read the Bible. And they're all fussed out. They got their fuss all the way out. And then you can be like, Dad, God was with you every day of that. I guess. He's with you right now. He'll never leave you or forsake you. And it's honoring Him to do it His way, because doing it His way makes it easier on you. You are His kid. He wants the best for you. This is how He said to go about it. I realize you only want to do what you decide is your way, and you're stubborn as fuck. I get it. I understand. You can point out flaws in me. That I traipse around the whole world handing out Bibles and still say motherfucker on a regular basis. Cool. Touche. I'm not God. I'm not God. I should get better. I'm trying to get better. Lord, help me get better. But I'm going to keep it real as a motherfucker. I'm going to keep it real as a motherfucker, because I'm telling you right now, when somebody comes to you and they step to you in a certain way, it's like, motherfucker, let's get it. You know what I mean? And then we're fixing to throw down. Yeah, I mean, where's your passion? For your family, for your kinfolk, for your cousin, for your brother. Go out here and call all these people your brother. You don't even know them. What's that dude's grandpa's name? Oh, well, that ain't your brother. What's that guy's grandpa's name? Rex. How do you know that? Well, he's my brother. We got the same granddad. That's how I can tell. Now we're brothers. That's how I can tell. That's how that works. That's why we got the same last name. Now I'm adopted into this, tribe of Judah via Jesus. This Hebraic, Abrahamic covenant is for me. I name it and claim it in his name. Sure, but that's just me acknowledging what Messiah did for me, what the Creator did for me. I'm acknowledging that. That's all I'm doing. That's it. I'm saying, okay, cool, I'll do it your way. I guess, but I ain't gonna sit around and read it and be one of them religious. You start talking like the Tasmanian devil because they can't come up with a good rebuttal. Now you're making progress. Now you're reaching the kinfolk. You know what I'm saying? I don't care how many band-aids you got, and what pouch, and what, a bunch of numbers, insert gadget attached to a firearm. Don't care. I do not give a shit. Can you quote the Ten Commandments? Can you sing a song by heart? Victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. He sought me and he bought me with his redeeming blood. He loved me and I didn't even know him, and all my love is due to him. And I can't tell my brother. Oh, well, when we were 15, he put my car in neutral and rolled it off a cliff. Bro, you're 52 years old. Suck it up. Quit being a bitch. Go make amends. What the Bible say? If your brother have aught against you, leave your offering. Don't even give your offering to God. Go make peace with your brother, and then, I serve a God of restoration, y'all. I serve a God of restoration. I serve a God of restoration. If you're going to talk about it, be about it. I'm part of the oldest prison gang you ever heard of. It's called Christian. And we were called Christian as a derogatory statement, like saying nigger. Yeah, I'm a Christian. Okay, yeah, I'm nothing. Okay, yeah, I'm nobody. And the government's going to cut my head off one of these days. Probably. I'm going to live like Jesus, and I'm going to get burnt trying to change the world. Because I'm trying to take over the earth for Jesus. And whatever earth is underneath my feet, I'm going to take responsibility for that wherever I may roam. Wherever I may roam. Wander. So when you're wondering what to do, it's probably whatever's right in front of you. Okay? But you're going to have to tighten this shit up. You're going to have to tighten this shit up. Alright? You know what I mean? You can't run forever. You know what I'm saying? And, if somebody has abused you to whatever degree, you know what I mean? Look them in the eye and tell them what they did. Get it off your chest. Look right at them and say, kinfolk, you did XYZ. I did that to my dad one time. I said, Dad, you helped everybody and you just left me out there. You didn't even buy me no shoes. You just told me to get a job. You know what he said? You know what he had the audacity to say to that abuse? He said, you're welcome. Because like, you motherfucker. 12 years later, running a roofing crew. Well, running my old thing. I had my old truck and tools box kind of leased onto another outfit. I go out there and I roof half the house. The rest of them, they ain't even close to done with the front. Pull my phone out. Hey, Dad, Remember that time you was an asshole, told me to get a job, he wouldn't buy me those shoes when I was 7? He's like, yeah. I said, thank you. I guess. But he hung up on me, you know what I mean? Because, like, that's how you get tough, man. What coach do you have that's a pussy? You know what I'm saying? So you need to be your coach. And you need to be honest with yourself. I mean, like, self, you know what to do. Self, I'm doing it, or I'm going to kick your ass for not doing it. I'm not going to kick your ass for being a victim. And I'm not going to play a victim to try to get pity. Because I'm going to stand on dignity and stand on business. 10 toes in, standing on business. What's my business? Thank you for choosing KFC. We got a 2-piece original for $4.99 today. How can I help you? Would you like some fries with that? Would you like coleslaw? Okay. And then they get to the window and they're like, you're a piece of shit, chicken boy. Thank you, sir. Have a great day. You know. And put up with it. Without spitting in the mashed potatoes. Anyway, if you cuss, pro tip. If you're at the drive-thru and you talk shit, just leave. Like, trust me. You get some 16 to 20-year-old dude flipping burgers to whatever degree, and you talk shit to them people, they are fucking with your food in ways that you do not want. So, like, you're driving, person sitting next to you is like running their neck, don't eat it, drive off. That's a pro tip. I know things because I've seen things. Well, I guess I'll just quit bitching, I guess. I mean, like, you know, if it's worth complaining about, it's worth praying about. If it's worth complaining about, it's worth praying about. And before you give your offering of time, service, money, and blah, blah, to dig a water well in Africa, make sure your immediate family is taken care of. That's your requirements. That's the way it works. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the people next to you can't see enough Jesus in you, then what are you doing? What are you doing? Are you religious or are you relational? You know what I mean? Can people relate to you and see that you have a relationship where you honor and bring glory to God? Is that what you're doing? Because I'm telling you right now, where I come from, I walk into places where people knew me when I was a kid, and they are astonished. Now, you're watching this video, it's been a little bit harsh, kind of, you know, a little stiff in a couple spots. Vulgar, you know, but with the people that knew me from, you know, Decatur, Arkansas, and Locust Grove, Oklahoma, and Cherry Tree, Oklahoma, Stillwell. There's a bunch of places. Southwest City, Missouri. When those people see me, and I start talking to them and everything like that, and then I start breaking it down, and I start really interacting with them. We got, you know, 30 minutes of whatever conversation. They're astonished. They're like, dude, you're not even the same dude. They didn't even recognize me. A lot of, like, Wade Stanglin, one of my friends, like, he taught me how to ride a motorcycle. He did not recognize me. I started talking to him, I didn't recognize him because he's old as hell. And he didn't recognize me. He's like, what happened, man? You got old. I was like, you too. Anyway. Yeah. They're just astonished. They're just astonished. They're like, how? I'm just like, God. God had a lot of suffering that I'm grateful for. Anyway, I'm going to get off here. I just pray right now. I said, Lord, let whoever hears this take it with a grain of salt and hear it as the goodness that it was intended for. I just pray, Lord, that your Holy Spirit fall upon them with a conviction to do right. And I pray, Lord, that you grant them the supernatural ability. I pray that your super meets up with their natural and they have victory in these things, that they sing songs of praise and get right and everything. And whichever phase of life they're in, I pray, Lord, that you make it abundantly clear the lessons you are teaching them through their suffering. I pray, Lord, that they would not waste their suffering. I pray that you would build their will to follow you. I pray for increased intellectual and understanding of the Word, a supernatural understanding of the Word. I pray, Lord, that their eyes would be enlightened by you to your ways. I pray, Lord, that they seek you diligently every day of their life out of want to. And I pray, Lord, that you give them the necessary, that you make it a necessity for them if they won't do it with a smile on their face. I pray, Lord, that you grant us with discipline, and I pray, Lord, that you would grant us some follow through. And I just ask you, Lord, to help me, Lord, to help me reach these people, to help me do things right and do it your way, and remodel this body, because I'm fat. So I just pray, Lord, that you help me with that. And I pray that you teach me discipline and mental toughness. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen. All right, Rock Hill. Go get him. Oh, and put your best foot forward with the kinfolk by apologizing for what you did. That'll open the door. Rock Hill.